Hello, guys. I told you there would be a housing reset in the market. This is serious, guys. I told there that why you don't buy a house? You're a veteran. Why you don't buy a house, man? You got the veteran VH loan, all this. I say, yeah, I'm not gonna buy it at the highest level. We didn't went. The market has went. It's full construction. Everybody that deals with the housing industry has got their. It's at the highest level. It has to crash. Um, So I'd rather wait. I'd rather wait. And now that we're good, I said it's gonna be a great. They already said it, the great reset. That's in everything. When the great reset, that everything's getting pushed back. Everything's getting pushed back. So therefore, I'm waiting to the big great pushback. You know, look at Chicago taxing the housing. Look at California. Look at all the major cities. Florida, even taxing Miami. Look at condos. Look around the country, man. It's outrageous. Why would you buy a house at the highest level and the salaries are low? And everything's been reset on every level. Federal government, private sector, public sector. Come on, that's me. I'd rather have an apartment. I'd rather have where I can manage and not be stressed out. So that's why I said I'm waiting. So anybody wonder why I waited? Here's a major reason why. Look what uh, look what the NewsNation Live said about bringing up about Redfin and talking about the great housing reset. Without further ado, watch what's going on. Watch this, guys.
You. Let's bring in Chief Economist at Redfin, Daryl Fairweather, also who wrote this article. Daryl, great to see you. As you know, right now, so many Americans say they are feeling the pinch when it comes to the economy. That also means when it comes to home ownership. What is bringing about this great American reset?
The housing market has been in a really tough spot since 2022. But what we're seeing now is that mortgage rates are coming down, and that means that buyers' budgets can go farther because their monthly mortgage payments will be lower. And if you were looking for a home in spring 2025 and looking again in spring 2026, you'll definitely feel that the housing market has improved. There are more homes for sale, that prices have only gone up a touch, and your incomes have probably gone up faster than home prices. So that's all good news, although it's going to be an incremental improvement. It's the beginning of a change that we think will continue for the next several years.
All right. So, what are you looking at as far as timeline? When this starts next year, and then it's always hot and cold. Where do you believe the housing market will likely heat up, and then where do you think it could potentially cool down?
The markets that are going to heat up the most are markets that have historically been overlooked, like the Great Lakes region or upstate New York. That's where home prices are still low enough that you can find great deals, but there really aren't that many homes for sale there because there wasn't a building boom during the pandemic the way that there was in the South. In the South, there were lots of homes built in Texas and Florida, really all across the Sun Belt. And now there's more supply than there are buyers interested. So in the Sun Belt, that's where buyers will find the best deals, and that's where prices are falling the most and will continue to fall in 2026.
All right. So the median age for a first-time home buyer right now is 40 years old. That's an all-time high. Redfin, has predicted that household makeup is going to shift with more Gen Z and millennials living with their parents for longer, because of what costs are dictating. What obstacles do you see when it comes to housing affordability for first-time home buyers, for these younger families?
Yes, baby boomers have been the biggest winners of the housing market over the last 10 years. But moving forward, those baby boomers are going to be retiring, they're going to be downsizing, and younger generations are going to find more opportunities. And when younger generations team up with older generations, like have multi generational living, grandparents living with parents, living with kids, they're going to find a lot of success. We're seeing more intergenerational living housing units being developed, like additional dwelling units, duplexes, triplexes. So we think that's going to be an ongoing trend of Gen Z kind of figuring out how they can get into the housing market. And when they have some help or support from their parents, they're going to find even more success.
All right. I know, Daryl, that there are people watching this who are just saying, a house right now is just not in the cards. So for people who can't afford to buy a home and will still be renting, kind of what's the outlook there?
What's happening, guys? Both by coastal Midwest, down south. There's a lot of people like retiring and they're like staying with their parents and instead of going to the elderly home, they'll sell their home to their kids, and the kids are buying a home, and they're staying with their parents. So it's basically like back in the '60s and the '70s when we came out the segregation and people moved up north, and the civil rights was going on in the '60s and everything was shifting. People were trying to find houses up in Chicago, Detroit, everywhere, and so that's when they worked in the big uh, automotive industries, and it was doing the same thing back then. We're repeating the same error 50 years later, basically 50 years later. Um, you got to realize these corporations. It's all about the money, man. It's all about the money. The corporations are buying these properties, they jacking the prices up through the roof, and they don't care because then they're gonna sell some eventually because people are gonna before during the COVID and everything, the tech boom, people was making high salaries. Now them tech companies are laying off. Look at DC. You see all the work in the government. You don't see how many houses are available right now in DC because they cut so many federal government jobs out. It was bloated. We see it now. It's bloated, and so all them jobs are dead now. The people got them homes, $1 million homes. You can't afford. A lot of people got homes that they didn't paid off. They can't even sell it at their price. They just dropped it down to 10, 20%. Some going up higher towards 30. Uh, from what I understood from what people was talking about in the general public, uh, that's allegedly. I say, wow, man, what happened? Well, they can't sell their homes and they can't afford the property tax because they went from a hundred some $1,000 job down to a 50 some $1,000 job or 60,000 because no one is going to hire them at that bloated price they was getting at the federal level. So now that the government is being recorrected, and they're like, why we got 150 people in a position where we only have to have 10? Get rid of the 140. And why are you paying all them hundreds of $1,000 salaries for what? And so this things is being revealed through Doge and other review panels and stuff like that. So DC housing is open; it's flooded with houses, but can you afford to buy even at the rate? And then can you afford to pay the property tax? That's the other side of the coin. So this is what's happened, like in Texas. You used to buy a house for 100 some $1,000. That was turning people down there 50, $80,000, 100,000. Now the average house is 300,000. 200, 300,000, depending on where you go. And these are the new build houses. Even now, the old houses that wasn't worth nothing, now with the new houses built in these areas, they're worth $150,000 now. When they was sold their house for 30, $40,000 in the South, a old house been there for 100 years, nobody really living, nobody doing that too much with it. Now the value of the house because it's in proximity to these new complexes raised the value of that property, and they could get 100 some thousand out of a house they paid maybe 20 back in the '40s. You know what I mean? '30s, and now they want it. They 5 times, 6 times, 7 times what they the value of what they originally bought it for. But then and the other side is the property taxes are going up, and that's what a lot of people down in the south are having a problem. I talk to Texas, other places. They said it's the property taxes killing them. It's taxes. And their jobs down there is definitely ain't like the East Coast or the West Coast. Their salaries are down, so there's going to be a big explosion on every level. That's where this great reset is coming. So why would you jump into that space, man? Pump your brakes, hold your heel, boy, and wait on what's going on and see how this is going to work out with the big girls and big boys at the top playing their games and these organizations doing what they're doing and just wait till this and seek if you can't wait seek all these properties and the best advantage for you. Buy when it's crumbling and then establish yourself. Don't buy at high level because you can't win if you're not established. Meaning, if you don't have a salary, you have at least 3 years, 3 to 5 years, what they told me, 3 to 5 years of property tax value. Why would you buy a house? Because you get in, you get down payment. Next thing you know, you're going to have a lien on your property on top of the loan that you got that you still got to pay off and lien on the property. because you can't afford the property tax. Like they say, you always got to worry about the roof, 25 years in the roof, and your plumbing because of the weather and everything, earthquakes, all kind of natural disasters. So these are all combination things you got to look for when you're going to purchase a house. Do you have the wherewithal to start keep off the wows of life, the wolves of life away from your property? So if you can't do that, it just doesn't justify the meaning to go buy a house. Just build your nest egg up, get there, make sure you meet these categories, and then move forward from that space. Don't because you have a desire to get a home. That's good. That's good. Everybody would love to have a home, but don't move into I'm not taking no risk like that. I'll take risk, but calculated risk. I wish you guys let's finish watching this and tell me what you think. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about what I said.
In 2025, rents were pretty flat, which was a big relief for renters. If they couldn't find a home to buy, they could at least find a home to rent that wasn't going to be excessively expensive. But in 2026, because so many people did choose to rent and are continuing to rent, we think that prices are going to heat up in the rental market, that rents will increase about 2 to 3%, which unfortunately means that those renters are going to have less money left over to spend on other necessities. People who have been on the brink of thinking about buying a home are going to be more motivated to buy a home when they get those lease renewals that show that their rents are increasing.
All right, so we know that the Trump administration right now is really focusing in on affordability, as are Democrats. But are there other things you think that the Trump administration could be doing to kind of get the housing market moving at an even faster pace?
Well, we're seeing more bills proposed in Congress, like the Road to Housing bill. That is a bipartisan effort. What the administration could do on its own is to use the authority of HUD to really pressure local governments to densify, to increase the supply of housing, especially where people most want to live. That's what personally I would like to see, is more leadership from HUD. I know we've seen a lot of thoughts from the FHA, from Bill Pulte, but I think HUD is really where there can be more meaningful impact.
Chief Economist at Redfin, Daryl Fairweather, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below.
Who wrote this article? Daryl, great to see you.
Yeah, I really like this. What she said. I like the percentages they were standing with Gen Z millennials.
Retiring, they're going to be downsizing, and younger generations are going to.
I like what they're saying, but the reality is these are numbers from a corporate side, but you got to think general in society what you want to do. Be wise about your decisions and your movements, because no one's gonna do it for you. No one. These programs are help for a certain extent, but they're not going to help you purchase a car. Why would they do that? Purchase a full house. You gotta build up. And yes, the rent's gonna go up to probably 2 to 3%, as she says nationally. Um, but that's cost. You understand the corporation that's buying these properties, these new constructions across the country, these new developments, they're also buying properties too, as far as apartments. Like my apartment is bought from a corporation it has security companies, it has a lot of things on its portfolio. That's what's happening across the country and in the major cities. Corporations are buying the internal infrastructure of American society, and it's affecting the citizens, and they're controlling our rents, everything. So yeah, be wise, be prepared for what's going to happen. But there's going to be a break. There's going to be a break, and when that break happens, you got to have enough money to get in, solidify them loans, and get in. Okay, people got 2 or 3 properties. What's happening? A lot in Texas, I heard a lot different other states. There's people with 2 or 3 pieces of property, and now what's happening is when their money start leaking and going down, they got to think about what they want. They're a millionaire, but they're not a multi-millionaire on the level of the other millionaires, and so they got to sell that house. And everybody that's in a millionaire don't want to buy them type of house for that price point because they know the value. So they wait until them houses get down to like to where I would manage it. I'm in a position to deal with the millionaires, the multimillionaires. They don't have the problem that this new millionaire has. So he or she has to get rid of 1 or 2 properties because they can't afford it, and this cost of property tax coming up, so it's costing them money. So let's sell it, but no one's gonna buy that $200,000 house, especially if you from Texas, you know that area. That house is going for 100,000. Why are you gonna pay 20,000? And you know what's going on in the American economy, because that's people that's buying houses are aware of what's going on for the most part. Not everybody, but most part. So that's what I'm waiting on. That person to get desperate in a bad situation. They got greedy, got above their means, and then I'll be like, hey, I purchased this house at $75,000. 75. I paid $180,000 for this house. Hey, make me an offer. I want at least I wanted. I know I'm not gonna get what I got out of it, but I want to get my money back. You can't get your money back, man. You lived in, you experienced that 180. Come on, don't you think you got some money out of that, man? I go up to 90, 90. What's your offer? Give me a counter offer. Uh, man, 175, 95. 165. Man, 100. 100. I'm almost at my cap. Man, I'm gonna lose all this money in there. Well, you're gonna pay property tax anyway. Think about the property tax. You can get back. You're not getting that back. Man, 145,000. 105. I'm at my cap. Let's work this out. So these are deals you got to make in the future, and they got to think about what they got to do in the future. I didn't make your decision, but your decisions are not going to weigh on my decision about what I want to spend, how I spend my money. You spend your money how you spend your money. I'll spend my money how I spend my money. I have an offer here. Go find it somewhere else, or take my offer. You have the right to say no or yes. That's your choice. But you're not going to bully me into something I don't want to do. So that's how we're gonna play it. That's the market I'm waiting on, and it's getting there. It's getting close to that market right now. The pressure's coming, and everybody can't stand that pressure. Because I couldn't, I avoided. So I hope you get some out of this video. Tell me what you think about it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. I'd like to hear from you because we are in a great reset on housing.
And other necessities. People who have been
Okay.
on the brink of thinking about buying a home or going